One of the things that I've been thinking about recently, whenever I look at my calendar, is where I would have been under normal circumstances. So for example, today, March 27, our 42 pilgrims who were planning on traveling to the Holy Land, we would be visiting the Mount of Olives. And as I reflect on this, where I would be under normal circumstances, it makes me feel like we're in some weird alternate reality where there was the path that we had planned on, and then there's this other path that we're on right now of everything shutting down and us finding ourselves in this place of forced retreat. This idea of retreat is one that we talk about a lot in the church. We associate the idea of retreat with intentional times of stepping away in order to gain perspective. And there are examples of this type of retreat in Scripture, of course. One of the ones that we always think about this time of year is Jesus taking a retreat into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. Now, that one was an intense type where he chose to fast during that time. But still, it was an opportunity for him to gain perspective. What's interesting in Scripture is for as many examples as we have of intentional retreats, there are also examples of unintentional ones where I would call forced disruptions or interruptions of life's rhythms. One of the examples of this, of course, is Noah having to collect provisions. He built a boat, getting ready for a time of major disruption, which was the flood. Another one is Jonah finding himself in the belly of a whale for 3 days. It is a forced retreat. I doubt that he would have chosen anything like that, but it happened to him, and it was a time for him to gain some perspective on his life. Another example of this type of forced interruption is when Saul encounters Christ on the road to Damascus. He hears the voice of Christ saying to him, "Saul, why are you persecuting me?" And what happens from that time is that he is blinded for a period of time, and everything that he knows, everything that he relies on is completely disrupted. And of course, that is the beginning of the story of the conversion of Saul to becoming Paul, who was the greatest witness of the church. And I share all this with you because whether these types of retreats are voluntary or involuntary, what we do is we find ourselves in a place where there's an opportunity to think about our life and where we are investing ourselves. And I have definitely found that to be true in my life as I find myself sitting at home with a completely new rhythm. I've been thinking about re-entry and thinking about what will my life look like when we're past this critical phase with trying to contain COVID-19, and when we're past that point and everything is kind of back to normal, will I just jump back into life the way I've always known it? Or is this an opportunity for me to gain some perspective on how I'm using my time in life? And so I want to invite you to consider this with me, the opportunity and the gift of this forced retreat as a time to reevaluate our lives and the ways that we spend our time. I believe that God has all kinds of wonderful gifts in store for us during this season, as uncomfortable as it is. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be able to record these videos and just send these messages in a way where you see my face and you know that I am thinking of you.